Okay, dokie, people.
What you doing?
How we feeling? How we living?
Top of the
Another day, another
another
dollar,
dollar. Go ahead.
another time to be great with y'all on
Another day,
today's
another
stream.
dollar. Got a holler for.
Okay.
I don't know,
Let
but
us
I'm
know.
not a rapper. Gangsta Grills, you bastard. 1-800-223-9797. Hot 97. You know the number.
You know it. Give the number a call. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Maybe one day we will somehow. Will that number ever change for that radio station? Maybe we can somehow adopt it.
That's been the number since before I was born, brother. That's why I remember it.
Okay.
I've been listening to that station growing up, and 1-800-223-9797. But we up in the club. I see you, girl in the red dress. Ladies in free before 11. And shit like that. I was like, anyways.
You love
Oh
to
shit,
hear it.
son. Okay.
All right, well, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Tonight we are going to be reviewing people's dynasty teams, giving them a direction moving forward, helping them decide what to do with their draft capital. Harrison says, "Hey guys, thanks to your advice over this draft season, I had a great draft last night. Ended up with JJ McCarthy at the 1-7, then Bo at the 2-4 on a quarterback needy team. Congratulations! That is
that's
huge
that's
haul.
phenomenal.
What's up, Timothy? Welcome in. What's up, Deku? Welcome in. Trax is in the building. We got Liam. Big Thunder sweep. We brought out the brooms. They said this is the weakest 1 seed in the history of the NBA. We said, shut up, bitch. And we sweep their ass. So thanks, New Orleans. We appreciate you.
See you in the finals.
Those big old women in San Antonio don't know a damn thing. What's up, Albert? Welcome in. If you know, you know. What's up, Rini? Welcome in. What's up, Jello? Welcome in. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Do us a favor, like we mentioned, and hit that like button. Tonight's stream is all about helping people improve their dynasty team. Okay, tonight's stream is all about helping people improve their dynasty team. If you want your team to be reviewed on a live stream by Badaki and myself, it's very simple. All you gotta do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND.
That's right.
When you sign up, of course, you get the team review, which we're going to walk through tonight, and you can see what that looks like. You also get our rookie report, our trade calculator, our complete rankings. You unlock the entire Discord channel, and, of course, you're supporting Badaki and myself. So we appreciate you big time. That is how you can get your team reviewed should you choose to. What's up, Rini? What's up, Noah? Welcome in. We'd love to see it. What's up, Alex? Welcome in.
How we feeling, boys? How we feeling?
Okay, this is on the wrong screen here. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Shout out to OBS for nothing. Every time I need you, you don't help me. Okay. So we are going to get into this team. Let's get rid of this comp pick. Here we go. All right, we are back at it. We did just get a super chat. Let's start the stream off with that super chat.
Yo. How you doing, Nate? We appreciate you. He says, yo, I did my draft. Got May at the 103, Brock at the 109, and Brooks at the 203.
W. Huge W.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, I wouldn't have taken May at the 103, but I love the Brock Bowers pick and the Jonathan Brooks pick.
I know he was considering. I think he talked about Jaden Daniels, and he wasn't a fan of him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I would have traded back if that's how I felt, but
yeah, I think we said that trade back's like the 106 because we seen him fall to the 106. Where did Daniels go in your draft, Nate? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, Daniels would have been my locked and loaded 103 there, but outside of that, I really love the values of Brooks there. Brooks at the 203 is crazy, so really well done.
Agreed.
But all right, the first team we are reviewing today is YRN Randy. Randy is up first, and by the way, Randy in Australia means something different. Let's leave it at that. But YRN, thank you for the support. We appreciate you big time. Why don't you read us through this context, Badaki?
Yeah, let's go for it. Pulling this up here. 10 teams, start 9. They said last year was the first year of the league. Made some bad trades early on, but ended up winning still. Congratulations. These are the trades I've made so far in the season, currently in the middle of the draft. But so far, I've gone, Brian Thomas at the 109, Brooks at the 204, trade the 207 for Mayfield and Marvin Mims. Nice. I don't mind that. 210 is Polk. I like that. 307 is Lloyd. That's a good value. I feel like I'm in a good spot to win, but I don't have a ton of depth at wide receiver. Wondering if there's any moves or tier downs you would recommend. And I'm assuming you kind of link some trades here, which we'll definitely look at potentially later.
Yeah, 10 team start 9. So is this SuperFlex? Because he didn't mention that.
He did not mention that, but
it is SuperFlex. So that would be 2 quarterback, 2 running back,
sunken ship,
2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2, 4, 6, 7, and it's a start 9, so 2 flex. So that's what I'm thinking this is. So let's look at his team again. 10-man sunken ship is his team here, right?
Yeah, sunken ship is his team, so he's first in the rankings here. Looks like a fairly even league.
He made it sound like he already had his draft, but Sleeper, or yeah, it looks like this.
Maybe Sleeper didn't update. I don't know.
Let's read this again. What do you say? These are the trades I've done so far. Currently in the middle of the draft, but okay, so they have a slow draft, and they've already completed most of it, is what it sounds like.
I'm assuming they're still in the 4th round as he did this. When did he send that message? He sent that message for.
He might have
24th.
Edited the message. I don't see an edit notification actually.
He did his draft last week technically. So I mean, surely you're done by now. But anyways, I don't know. Maybe it takes that long. But I mean, let's just go with the context that he is saying there.
Yeah.
At the quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Baker Mayfield. I think that's a phenomenal wide receiver room, especially having a QB3 just in case. At the running back position, you do have Jonathan Taylor, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. So you have great running backs, and you have the Los Angeles Chargers backfield, which is great as well. I don't think you have to do anything at the running back position. You are able to start up to 4 wide receivers. So you do have Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, Marvin Mims, Rondo Moore. And I'm assuming with what we know, according to your details,
Brian Thomas too.
Brian Thomas Jr. And you also have, by the way, Jonathan Brooks, which I did not mention in that. So Baker Mayfield is here, by the way, and he said he did that trade.
Yeah, he traded the 207 for Mayfield and Mims.
Okay,
that's a good QB3.
Yeah, that's a good QB3. So running back room is set with Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Gus Edwards, J.K., and Jonathan Brooks. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Brian Thomas Jr., Tyreek Hill. He also has Jalen Polk as well. So I think your wide receiver room is pretty good at the moment with Rashee Rice. Let me not forget to mention his name. And then Trey McBride.
It's a good squad, man. Really solid.
This is a great squad.
I mean, let's think about this starting lineup. You've got 2 quarterbacks, so you've got 2 of the best in fantasy. 2 running backs, you got 2 of the best in fantasy. You can start 4 wide receivers at a time, so it's probably Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, and then Rashee Rice or Brian Thomas Jr., I assume. You've also got Trey McBride. So your starting lineup is probably the best starting lineup in your league. I would imagine. I mean, let's see what Sleeper says. Or Keep Trade Cut says. Keep Trade Cut has you at a 95. The next closest is Team 2 with starters, which has Lamar and Kyren, Derrick Henry, Lamb, Olave, Pittman, Flowers, Kincaid. So even just starters alone, they have you as number 1 as well. And I would agree with them. I think you are the best team in your league. I think you'd agree as well, Badaki.
I would agree. Yeah, I definitely do agree. I know one of the things he was worried about was that he didn't have a ton of wide receiver depth. But, I mean, drafting Polk and Brian Thomas Jr., I think that gives you a little bit more breathing room. And Marvin Mims, look, he's not somebody we're talking up at all. But, look, there could be a role. There could be a role there. Look, I still believe in Troy Franklin, but I think there is a. It's not like a top 40 role.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it's not a top 40 role, then maybe there's no role.
There's no role. Yeah. So the reason I'm so hesitant is because we did just talk about Troy Franklin in a video that comes out tomorrow, and I went back and researched Marvin Mims' rookie year. I was like, let me paint a nice picture here for Mims, and I was like, 33 targets in 17 games. I was like, damn. I mean, it couldn't get much worse than that for Marvin Mims. But anyway, that's besides the point. I mean, you can only start 4 wide receivers anyway. You know, So it's not like you need to.
You need more depth. Look,
I mean, you can only start 4 guys.
the biggest handcuff here, really, if not handcuff, but handicap on your team at the moment is Rashee Rice and what that's going to look like. If
Yeah.
Rashee Rice wasn't in his legal situations, you would
Yeah.
have a really good depth and an understanding of where the team is going to be going and how you could be starting and who you could be starting. But
Yeah.
at the moment, Rashee Rice is kind of, once again, in this legal situation. Is he suspended for half the year? Is he suspended for 2 to 4 or 6 games? We don't know yet. Is he not suspended at all? So, but what's good about this is that you got Brian Thomas Jr. and Jalen Polk, who are instantly becoming the #1 options on their team. Now they're rookies, which is going to give you a little bit more of a handcuff. But if that is the case, if Rashee Rice is suspended for half the year, then in the second half of the season, Rashee Rice is going to be back with this team with Patrick Mahomes that you're going to have a link to, which is great in my opinion.
Let's be honest here for a second. This is a 10-man league, and it's not a small starting roster, but it's not big at all. So you're in a 10-man league. Everyone's teams are going to be relatively good, and you only start 9. I could not tell you in good conscience to sell any of the players that I'm about to highlight in blue. I could not think of a single reason for you to sell any of these names, right?
Agreed.
And that leaves what? Gus Edwards, what is he going to get you? You might as well have an RB3 on your roster. You know, Baker Mayfield, you just traded for him, really good value, and you need a QB3. Rashee Rice, he's undervalued right now. We're trying to go trade for him. Yes, a report came out today that he could miss half the year. That's fine. I'll go trade for Rashee Rice if he's going to miss half the year. That's completely fine. And by the way, that wasn't even out of the league office. It was just a throwaway comment in a video over on Underdog with Steve Smith. They do great work over there, but it's funny. It was almost like the way the media swung it and rode with it was like the NFL comes out and says it's half a year. It was literally a throwaway comment during a video. Very well could be half a year. That wouldn't surprise me, but still, he's going to play this year. And we're not going to sell these guys that we just drafted right after taking them. We're not going to sell Brooks. We think you got great value on him. We're not going to sell Brian. We're not going to sell Polk or Lloyd. I mean, really, the one thing I can say is good job. You are in the right direction. You probably have you will make the playoffs, and you will have an incredible chance to win your championship this year. I noticed you had no pick in 2025. You no first, no second. You have a third. But honestly,
let's look at these trades, by the way.
That's fine
These
because
trades.
you killed it. Yeah, let's look at these trades.
These screenshot trades that he sent in the first one here, he receives Trey Lance, Jaden Reed, the 104, and he sent away George Kittle, DK Metcalf, and the 210. Honestly, Trey Lance is a dead asset there, but getting the 104, I think, is great for what you sent, in my opinion.
I wonder what he turned that 104 into, because he didn't end up having that in the draft.
He doesn't end up with any of these players, by the way.
Yeah.
So
they had to
he
have been
does. The next trade here is he receives Jalen Hurts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kenny Pickett in the 203. He sends away Jordan Love, Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed, and the 107 in the 209.
So Kenny Pickett is funny to even be in a deal in a 10-man SuperFlex.
Yeah.
But so you get Hurts.
I guess he's getting the backup. I think that's his priority.
Oh, okay.
Like if Jalen Hurts go down, kick Pickett's there.
Amon-Ra, the 203. You send away Love, Addison, Reed, the 107, and the 209. It's funny because in a 12-man, I probably view this very differently. But in a 10-man, I think this is a very good deal for you.
I agree.
This is the kind of deal that we would want you to pursue.
And then he sends a couple other trades here. He receives Bijan Robinson. He sends that 104 away. Okay, so he gets the 104 for Bijan.
Which, you know, again, in a 10-man league, Bijan is more valuable.
Mm-hmm. The second trade, this is a 3-way trade, by the way.
Yeah. So who got screwed? There's always one person who gets screwed in one of these deals. Probably the guy who sent away Olave and Bijan.
But he gets the 104 and Travis Etienne.
Oh, that's true.
That's not terrible. Yeah, that's really even trade all around, though. The 203 is essentially what, the 112, right? Or 201?
Yeah.
Oh, 112.
Yeah.
201, 112. I mean, it's not terrible.
and you did well. All these trades you did well. I mean, it's funny because it's almost like all the action that you've done from right here, right now, is all the things that we might have suggested to get you to this place. So you've already gotten yourself to that place. I think at this point, any more action and you're probably undoing what you've already done. You're probably getting too happy in too many trades when in reality, ride it out. You built an absolute monster, right? You have two top 3 quarterbacks in Dynasty, or well, top 5 at minimum. You got Jalen Hurts, who's been quarterback 1 and quarterback 2 on a per game basis last 2 seasons. You got Bijan and JT, 2 top 5 guys. You got Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, and Tyreek Hill. You got Trey McBride and the rookies that you just brought in. You can't mess this up.
Yeah, you can't
by keeping. You can't mess this up.
No question. I mean, we want to help you and give you as much opportunity and questions as you can. I don't think you're here with us, but please use your fantasy hotline. I have no idea, unless you just wanted to boast, and that's okay. You can boast. We're boasting. We'll do it for you, brother.
Dude, we'll boast for you. You absolutely smashed it out of the park. This is a home run team. So, like,
100%.
Big time congratulations on this team. You're 100% in the playoffs. 100% in the playoffs.
Unless everyone just goes to shit and gets injured.
The only way you don't make it to the championship is if injuries happen, like Badaki said. So, if anything, congratulations on building this type of team. Congratulations on your draft as well. I don't understand how Jonathan Brooks goes at the 204, but I guess because it is a 10-man, right? So that would be the 202, maybe. But Lloyd going that late makes no sense at all. So congratulations, you absolutely killed it. Well. You won your trades, you won your draft, and don't mess it up from here. Like, no. That's the only thing that you can do by tinkering this is probably messing it up.
Yeah, completely agree, man. Thank you so much. Once again, use the fancy hotline. If you have any other questions, any other trades that come through, use that hotline and we'll definitely get you rolling for sure and answer any of those questions. But we appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you big time. Congratulations on that team. And just last thing I want to say here is if we did tell you to tear down, it would be the wrong move to do in this league from any of these names. It would be the absolute wrong move to do. So congratulations on that squad, man. Big time win on that team. We got a couple super chats. Hey, if you're watching, guys, do us a favor. Smash that like button. We got a like goal of 50 likes on today's stream. So do us a favor and help us get there. We're already at 20. You guys are awesome. Do us a favor and smash that like button. We got a super chat from Alex.
How you doing, brother?
He says, traded CMC in the 201 for Amon-Ra in the 303 in a SuperFlex. Got CD Reed. Feel that CMC's values will drop after off after the season. I had the 201, the 202, 204, 205. Got Benson, Nix, Rice, Ricky, Ray Davis. Is Ray Davis going in the second round? Okay, so he traded CMC and the 201 for Amon-Ra in the 303. I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either. He got CD and Reed. Yeah, got CD Lamb and Jaden Reed, and you feel that CMC's value will drop after this season.
It makes sense. I mean, he's a running back. He's getting older in age. You can't get better than the most valuable running back in a redraft league as you get older and older. So that makes a lot of sense. Ray Davis feels a little early at the 2.5, but outside of that, I like this entire message. It makes a ton of sense. Really, well
getting
done.
Benson, Nix, and Ricky there in the second round in the SuperFlex league, I think it's great value.
Also, considering that you get younger and at a position that lasts longer, like that CeeDee Lamb Amon-Ra combo is going to be dangerous for a while. So Ray Davis was a 303. Okay. So I misread that. Well, I don't see the 303 in that message, but
I guess he got the 303. He got the 303 in Amon-Ra. So I guess he just didn't clarify that, which makes sense.
My bad. Okay, that makes sense. Really well done.
Yeah. We appreciate you there, Alex.
We also got a super chat from the Roll, but we don't see any comment attached to it. Let us know if we missed that. But we appreciate y'all. Hit that like button on today's stream. Again, if you're just joining us, the point of today's stream is to help people with their Dynasty teams, help them improve, hopefully come up with some trades that they could potentially send out in their league, and if they have draft picks, what they could do with their draft picks to improve their team. So we're going to move on to the next team. But if you want your Dynasty team reviewed, it's very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. There's a direct link we just put in the chat. It'll be in the description if you're watching this later. But this is what the website looks like. You get all of our articles. You get our 2024 rookie report, which released right after the NFL draft. You get our rankings. You get our trade calculator. Soon we'll be using my teams. It's in beta mode right now. But again, if you want access to a Dynasty team review, become a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. Direct link is in the chat for you. The role says you wrote something above the super chat. The only thing I'm seeing is it would mean a lot. Are you seeing something I'm not?
No, that's all we see. It would mean a lot. I'm not necessarily sure what that means, but I guess it means a lot. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But if you're potentially trying to send a link in the YouTube chat, by the way, YouTube will not let you send a link if that's what you're trying to do. Only the owner of the stream can send a link, if that makes sense. All right. Next up is Sugar Shane.
Sugar Shane.
Let us know if you're in the chat with us, brother man. This is a My Fantasy League MFL. First things first is no disrespect to MFL, but I'd encourage y'all to switch over to Sleeper. Only reason is because Sleeper's constantly updating. I recently learned that MFL has like fees for their site if you want to use it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that should not be the case if that's true. I get why they need fees, but with all respect, Sleeper is free and it's better. So maybe tell your commish that if he's interested. Maybe save people some money.
Shane Lee, how you doing, brother?
He's in the chat for us.
Nice to see you guys, but you can cook up. No worries, man. Let's break down this team. 12 team SuperFlex, 1 PPR, tight end premium is 0.5 premium. So start 10. Okay. Looks like you can start up to 6 wide receivers.
5 flex spots.
You can start up to 7 running backs, wide receivers, or tight ends. Okay, makes sense. He said took over this team as an orphan in the league with my brother, Dark Helmet. Okay. Prior to the 2023 rookie draft, made a couple moves prior to and during the 2023 draft, then rolled out my rookies and hold over from the previous owner. After confirming I was a contender, sold off pretty much my whole team and went into full rebuild. Below are trades that I made over the last year to acquire draft capital to rebuild from scratch to my own liking.
Let's read through them. He sent Tyreek for Ayuk, the 312, the 112, the 212. That's a good trade for sure.
Yep.
He sent Gino in the 312 for the 202, 208. That's great. Unfortunately, Charbonnet didn't hit for you, but the process was right. Sent Jimmy for anything. Well done. Sent Minshew for a third. You might get more than a 25 third now, but that's hindsight. Sent Kamara for a first. I don't think you could get more than that. Hurts and Montgomery. He got Fields, a 105 and a first, so that hurts. No pun intended, but that trade probably hurts in hindsight. And then he sent Ayuk and Pickett for the 103. I love that deal. I don't think Ayuk is worth the 103, and I don't think Pickett is worth anything.
Okay, yeah. I completely agree. He says basically I ripped off this team to bare bones, had a good amount of draft capital, but with a few viable players, wasn't sure whether I should try to move back and acquire additional future picks. Below my picks, I have 2024 to 2026, and we'll get through that. He said, had envisioned taking Martin Harrison Jr. neighbors in May, whichever fell to me at the 105 when I was moving assets for picking earlier this offseason. Just looking to get some insight on whether you would be in agreement with the strategy or if you and any other players' potential pivot should I be pursuing. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Very exciting. So team name is OBJ Kenobi. He's 5th right now. A lot of draft capital.
A lot of draft capital. We're going to be building off here with you, brother. Let's break it down. This league, I guess there's a big gap in between the top 3, which is with your brother. He's part of that top 3, Dark Helmet.
And can we just say from the get-go, Badaki, we don't really need to waste time. No disrespect, looking at this roster because it's bad.
Yeah.
Their only pillar, I would say, is Dalton Kincaid, and I'm very confident that Shane knows that too. I hope he doesn't take that as disrespect.
Look, there's definitely people like I would just I quickly mention Devin Singletary, some good opportunity. Shakira, I think gets good opportunity this year. But no one. I also think Darnell Mooney is going to be interesting in my opinion with Dalton Kincaid. Everyone else, thank you for your service.
Yeah. It's cheeks, and Shane knows that. He says, yeah, it's atrocious. He knows that. So let's go through these picks because really there's no point in wasting time in this roster. What I will say is Kincaid is a great hold. I am honestly shocked. I'll be honest with you. I am shocked that you're rostering some of these names. I'm shocked that Josh Weil, Zach Kuntz, Will Mallory, at minimum, are rostered. Honestly, all the names that I'm highlighting in blue. Danny Gray, Kenny McIntosh, Amari DiMarcado, I just dropped in a league. Sean Clifford. Jake Hainer you might want to hold, but you could probably let him go. Mason, Zappy. I mean, at minimum, you can cut all these guys. And you're probably going to have to make that decision because you have so many draft picks. But you can cut him. He says 30-man roster. Okay, that's pretty big. So if it's a start,
he's been held for 2 years.
If it's a start 10, that means he has 20 bench spots and 6 taxis. That is pretty. Your waiver wire must be completely naked, right? So yeah, 26 bench spots essentially when you consider the taxis. All right, but let's go through this. So you can absolutely go Malik Neighbors here at the 102. Reason being is because you have the 103 and the 105. So Neighbors is fine. I would personally go Jaden Daniels here. And then I assume... sorry, I meant Marvin Harrison Jr. I assume that Neighbors goes next. But either way, this is going to be May or McCarthy for me here.
Yeah, whichever one you would like to pursue.
And then the great news is that this team is in a prime position to get a Michael Penix Jr. And I think this is the perfect team for Michael Penix Jr. The 203 is screaming to me as a Michael Penix Jr. spot for you. I know Badaki and I disagree on that. Let me know if you like with this team. I feel like there's not a better team out there to take a shot on Michael Penix Jr.
I personally would still pivot and punt in a different perspective just because I'm just willing to get some more draft capital other places at the 203. I mean, that could be one of these running backs. That could be one of these a first-round wide receiver. You can get a quarterback. But I think you can solidify your quarterback room and then still have Justin Fields as let's wait and see, because this is a perfect team to have Justin Fields because you don't have to start him. But at the same time, maybe you can reset that with Michael Penix however way you want. I mean, pretty sure Justin Fields is just as old as Michael Penix.
Let's see what you would do here then, because I would 1,000% lock in Michael Penix at the 203, and we'll have two options for him. Based off the pathway that you and I would take.
At the 112. Okay. At the 112 here, I think this is the Lab McConkey range, the Xavier Worthy range, whichever one does go there at that position at the 112. At the 202, you have Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson. I would even throw, if these running backs are off the board somehow, which I doubt, maybe Ricky Pearsall, but I think the Ricky Pearsall does fall to the 203. So Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette. You have Jalen Polk at the 203 as well that I will be considering if some of these guys are off the board already. At the 208, I would be looking more at a Adonai Mitchell. Let me just pull this up. Sorry, I just had it up, but forgot Ellen. So at the 208, sorry, let's flip this around because I kind of was looking at the wrong rankings here. Keon Coleman is where I'll be looking at the 203.
Okay.
And then Jalen Polk at the 208. So those two guys you flip around. And at the 208, Jalen Polk, Troy Franklin, the Blake Corms, the Roman Wilsons, the Adonai Mitchells are all going within that range for me. Same thing at the 212. You can throw Jermaine Burton there, Malachi Corley within that range. In the 303, which is probably right where this cuts off here. Javon Baker, maybe a Marshawn Lloyd. Maybe you can get a Jalen McMillan if you like one of those guys. That's where I would be going. I can understand getting, once again, Michael Penix, but I would rather be investing in maybe one of these wide receiver or running backs, because you're already investing in your running backs or your quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds, and you have Justin Fields, which I feel confident in that he will start hopefully in the second half of the season with the new offense. So that's where I would be going. But I'm not opposed to Michael Penix. I'm happy to build this way.
Yeah, I don't have that same confidence in Justin Fields. I have him in some leagues, but I'm not betting on him being a part of my future. And if you're rebuilding, then I would be looking at guys that I think could be a part of my future. That would be Michael Penix Jr. And I guess I'll just ask you, do you plan on competing this year? No. Okay, that takes 1 year out of this whole Penix Kirk Cousins situation. Do you plan on competing next year? Maybe. Maybe your team is in that position. Would you rather bet on a Coleman, Leggett, Pearsall, or a Penix in a SuperFlex league? You make that decision. For me, it would be Michael Penix Jr. I think you are the perfect team to take on that risk because it really doesn't matter. In fact, he actually fits you perfectly because he won't be attributing to your max point for if he doesn't play like everyone is saying that he won't. So a little bit different mindset for me, but everything else outside of that is pretty much very similar. I would add names like Jalen Wright to he says he was eyeing 2026 to compete. Well, if that's the case, then I would say if Penix is there's no way you should let him come off the board. But I would also add Jalen Wright to the 303, along with the names that Badaki mentioned there. I think he is a really, really good value, but I would have the same names at the 208 and the 212. That would be something that we view very similar as well. And the same names at the 112 and the 202. So really, it's just a fundamental difference. I'll just ask you this, Shane. How many times in the next 5 years do you think you'll get a chance to take a top 10 quarterback at the 203 in a rebuild? I'm going to go out on a limb and say you won't have another shot to do it, but I think both of these are great options. I would go Penix route, Badaki would go one of those wide receivers. But either way, I think you're building around your team in a very, very good draft. I mean, let's just paint the picture that I'm kind of painting for you. So obviously you get Marvin, you get Daniels. That's going to drastically improve your team. Let's say you end up with May, McConkey. Let's say you get a Benson here, a Penix. You'll end up with a Polk. Let's say you also get a Corum at the 212. And let's say you get Jalen Wright at the 303. Well, now you've got a quarterback room that consists of Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Justin Fields. That feels so much better to me than Daniels and Fields. I would not feel comfortable leaving this class, betting on future classes to try and figure out my quarterback position. That feels better. Then we look at running back. We've got Benson, we've got Corum, we've got Wright, we've got Charbonnet. We don't need those guys to be anything. They all have upside to be something. At wide receiver, we add Marvin Harrison Jr. Fantastic start there. We add McConkey. We add Jalen Polk. So we add 3 names to a wide receiver room that is already very barren. We still have those first-round picks next year where I think you can still hit on wide receivers and running backs. I don't think there's a quarterback that I can picture right now to tell you that you can bet on next year. So that's the route I would go. But there's not a wrong route. That's just the picture I'm painting. Either way, it's a great picture.
Yeah, either way, I mean, you just flip a wide receiver with the quarterback for me. And then, it just depends on how you want to build. Maybe you can start up to 5 wide receivers, 6 wide receivers here. So I think maybe building off of that would be great. But I think you have to stick and pick here. I don't know if we would want to potentially change anything in this draft unless you can
keep these picks for sure.
Look, by the way, I would say this. We've seen in the recent chats and comments people saying that Bo Nix is falling to the 112, to the 201. I'm pivoting to Bo Nix over Michael Penix. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I would draft both. They would be both the best player available there for me then.
Yeah, and if that is the case, then do that however way you want to do that. But we believe in Bo Nix. I believe in Bo Nix in this situation. Them getting Troy Franklin, getting Sean Payton. He has a history of having successful quarterbacks. Obviously, he wasn't as good with Russell Wilson, but he was clearly at the end of his career, or at the end of his career. So just keep that in mind. I know every draft is different. And if you do, obviously you do have our rookie report since you are a supporter.
Yeah.
Definitely check our rankings and then mark them off. Whoever is best available. We will always say go best player available here.
Yeah. Big time.
So keep that in mind.
And you have your first next year, which is probably going to be pretty high. You have Fett's Mandalorians, who is, it's all Star Wars themed.
Yeah.
Who is ranked as the bottom team right now. They'll be a good team, though. They have a vets. They just don't have long-term answers. But maybe it falls apart this year. That's good. And you also have the first from a Rebuilding the Empire, which I have to assume isn't good, but maybe they are. Well, they're fourth. So they're not a bad team at all. But ultimately, you got some future picks there. In 2026, you've got your first, which is good. You got a couple seconds. So you're building it the right way, for sure. 2 routes that you can take there. But as far as these players, I don't think they're really worth anything.
I think there's 2 players. I mean, I think one player that's worth pivoting off of in season. If that is the case, maybe Devin Singletary. You know you're not going to be competing. We expect this team to either... I expect my Giants to draft another running back next year, especially with that 2025 class.
Any second will do.
Any second will do for Devin Singletary in 2025. For these wide receivers, I don't see any value. I'm holding Shakira unless... Well, look, I'm happy to sell him in the middle of the season to see what I can get because of all this other value. But like, if he is clearly a big part of that offense, I'm happy to wait because he's still a young player.
I would sell Darnell Mooney for any 2024 third just to add to that. I don't think he's going to be in your window to compete. And this third round, there's a lot of players I'd rather have than him. As far as Justin Fields, that's the other name we could talk about. I mean, I don't know. I think you and I see this a little bit differently. I think it would be a pretty historic outlier if Fields becomes a franchise quarterback. So all I would say is if he becomes the starter, be very open to shopping him. You know, does that mean you can get a first if he becomes a starter? Like, that could change things. Is it 2 seconds? Like, what is the price at that point when he becomes a starter? You don't shop him until that point, though.
Yeah, I'm happy to shop him if you are going the Michael Penix route. Like, if we want to play that scenario and you get Michael Penix and in 2 years and Justin Fields is the starting quarterback at the end of this season, shop him. Sure, 100%. I'm happy to do that. But if not, I'm keeping Justin Fields as my QB3 because I do believe he will be the starting quarterback, at least from what I'm envisioning in 2025, unless Russell Wilson is back to his old form. Because Russell Wilson's on a 1-year deal. They could be picking up... They could maybe get Justin Fields on a 1-year deal, a 1-year extension. Because I don't... Like, they're 5th-year options this year for Justin Fields, so I don't think they're going to pick that up.
They declined it already, yeah.
They declined it. So if they do continue with him for another year in 2025, then that's okay, because at the moment, like we said, we can't tell you who is a good quarterback in 2025, and anything could change, and the Steelers could be a team that gets a quarterback. But I'm keeping Justin Fields if you're going my routes as my QB3, the way I'm envisioning him to have a role in 2025 or at the end of the 2024 season. So
I can see where you're coming from. I think whatever route you go, I would be open to shopping him. I just don't want to bet on someone having to break like the mold of history to be the starter. But of course, I know Justin Fields is a very unique situation and has a lot of belief from a lot of people. And maybe he is a great outlier. But
in a fantasy perspective, you won't go wrong because you know what he's going to get you in a fantasy perspective. You know he's going to be rushing.
I think I agree with that if he was on a rookie contract and he was just drafted. But I think it could very easily be Justin Fields is out of the league soon. So that's why I'm more concerned.
Sure.
Because I definitely get where you're coming from, but once you have no long-term security and you're no longer considered a starter, I think your career could end at any moment.
100%. 1,000%, and anything could happen. I think I'm not saying, and we've seen some of these quarterbacks, revitalize their careers. Baker Mayfield, everyone thought he was done when he went to the Rams, and then it was like, oh damn, the Rams. Then he went to Tampa. Like obviously that's a longer story and a longer situation that you have to wait on. But I think we know the return of Justin Fields when he's on the field and how he can produce. I think that's why I'm happy to keep him, just in case you don't go Michael. Like in this Michael Penix, you're not drafting Michael Penix.
The opposite side of that is because, like, you're right. Like, we've had the Geno Smiths, the Baker Mayfields. We've also had, like, to be fair, we should have sold Geno Smith last year, and I was really open to buying him, and that was the wrong decision.
Yeah,
is what it feels like. So, I don't know. I mean, how long is Baker playing at that level? Is he back for sure, or next year we're like, damn, we should have sold Baker?
I'm not saying Fields is going to be a franchise quarterback. I'm just saying if he's on the field, I'm going to be okay starting him with a known history of him.
Anytime Justin Fields plays in the real NFL, we love him from fantasy. But
yeah, for fantasy, he's not a franchise quarterback. I agree.
So you should sell him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with that. I'm happy to sell him, but I'm happy to sell him if you go the Michael Penix route, even my route.
Yeah, I would go either way, but I get it. Shane says I'm a believer, but I'm definitely not opposed to shopping him. So Shane, I think you have put yourself in a position where you mentioned you were in a rebuild. You have a ton of darts to throw at a board in a very good class. You have a really good opportunity to improve your team greatly, and it's desperately needed. Please let us know if there's anything that we didn't address, if there's any questions that you have that we didn't address. But there is no sell on this team, really, outside of Fields.
I would say Zach Charbonnet as well.
Would you sell him, though, in this scenario?
I think I would.
I just don't even think you can get like an early to mid-second for him at this point. What is the market? I don't think the market's very strong at all.
The reason why I'm a little bit not concerned, but the reason why I actually agree now with you is because I think second rounds are going to be overvalued after this after this draft. Next year, no one's going to want to sell a second because they're going to want to see how second round picks are going to pan out.
Well, I think people are just aware of how good this class is, though. The consensus is that next year isn't good. So I think next year will be different, though.
What did Keep Trade Cut say?
Said 207, 208. I mean, I don't even, like, I'll be honest, I don't think you can get that deal done. Do you think someone would actually give you the 207 in this draft? I don't think so.
I'm just thinking of, like, is Zach Charbonnet ever going to be in an early second capital? Like, if an early second capital would have to be just outside of, like, James Cook, Rachaad White range. I don't think he's getting there. Ever.
If you can get a mid-second, I would do it in a heartbeat. I just don't think... I think this is one of those scenarios where Keep Trade Cut isn't actually replicating what real leagues would actually do, which is not... I don't know. Like, I just don't imagine that you can get anywhere near the 206 or the 207. But if you can do it in a heartbeat... He already has a 208. I just don't think people are doing that in this class.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you can do it,
I think
get it done.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is if you can get something for Zach Charbonnet, I would, because I don't see him becoming an early second value anytime or in his career. I think it sounds terrible, but like he's such a good talent. It's just behind a bad situation. Unless Kenneth Walker goes to shit and gets injured and you sold him for pennies and that sucks. Like the only way that happens, and I hope it doesn't, if Kenneth Walker like tears an ACL or Achilles. Yeah. That's the only way that happens.
I agree. Shane, let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover, if there are any specific questions that you have that you wanted us to hit on. But while we're waiting on that message, we got a super chat from CJ. CJ says, how much do I have to pay for you to review mine? If you guys want your team reviewed, very simple process, guys. We are only reviewing teams from people who are Mother Flocker members with the promo code LAND. Got to be a Mother Flocker member. Got to use a promo code LAND. This is what the website looks like. When you sign up, I would suggest to click the instant access button so you skip that free trial and have your team eligible for review a little bit earlier. an account, link your Discord, and you'll be able to see all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab. So if you want your team reviewed, there is not another way. That is the only way. Everyone's team that we're looking at tonight, they are Mother Flocker members with the code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. They're active members. So if you guys want a team review, that is how you get it done. Please let us know if you have any questions on that in the chat. LT Gray, by the way, says overpaid for the 1 in Delta.
We saw that, brother.
Look.
We're a little bit baffled.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little surprised, LT Gray. But, I mean, let's see. I don't know. It was really shocking to me, but
I think if you're telling me, let me ask you this: if you're telling me that Jalen Hurts, this is what I asked myself.
People want to know what the trade is. By the way, this is the 101 straight up for Hurts. Basically, was the deal.
If you're telling me Jalen Hurts is going to finish as where am I going with the fantasy finish?
I'm sure T Gray's okay with us doing this because he donated a super chat to talk about it. But it's essentially the 101 for Hurts, and we were like, whoa. I mean, we like Caleb, but Hurts was the quarterback 1 on a per game basis 2 years ago. Last year, the quarterback 2 on a per game basis.
Yeah,
it is tougher to get that. It can't get that much better, you know.
Yeah.
Brown, Smith locked up long term. I don't know, dude. That's a lot of belief in Caleb. I'll say that.
Yeah, that is a lot of belief in Caleb, and that's why I'm saying, like, Tigray, if I told you Jalen Hurts would finish top 5 quarterback for the rest of his career, or not the rest of it, for the next 3 years, would you still take the 101? Because that's what I asked myself. I was like, damn, I mean, like, yeah, there's going to be 1 year Jalen Hurts probably doesn't finish in the top 10 because of something, or maybe not even top 5 because of something.
You got to be projecting a downfall for sure here.
Yeah, you have to project the downfall. Maybe that's what he's projecting. He's projecting the downfall. Because, I mean, you've seen it with Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes, in his prime, well, he's still in his prime. But in his fantasy prime, you would have taken the 101 every single day, but he finished QB8.
You would have also gotten 2 first-round picks on top of it if you did that deal.
Yeah, I know. So it's like,
I don't know. It's I love the confidence, brother. I just don't know if I can see it. But I don't know. Shane, by the way, we were reviewing Shane's team, and he said 100% agree with Charbonnet. Everything sounded great. Only thing I was considering is moving down from the 105 to maybe the 107, 108 range and picking up more ammo for 25. See, the reason we didn't suggest that is because the reason I didn't suggest it, I assume you as well, Badaki, is because the 2025 class right now, I can't tell you what quarterback goes top 10. I think there will be one, but I can't tell you if there will be one and who that would be. Maybe it's Shador. Maybe it's old mate from Georgia, Carson Beck.
Yeah.
But it is nowhere near this class. There's no Caleb. There's no Drake. And maybe you get some quarterbacks in the first. Maybe, and I hate to say this, is this like what the Kenny Pickett draft was, where it's like, we'll get some of them guys in there. We'll get some of them. And then it's like, oh, wait, they all sucked. So
what's exciting about Shador is that he has the rushing upside.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a whole different conversation. But yes, that's why
he's not he's not like a Daniels rusher, but he is like Caleb as far as like threat in the red zone. But
yeah.
So if you were to trade back from the 105, I would need to know that you could get a Mayer or McCarthy. Otherwise, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I would agree. Completely agree.
So let's add that in there. If you want to move back, only move back if you can guarantee, maybe. I don't know. I spelled that wrong. Sorry. May or McCarthy. Outside of that, we're not doing that deal.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Agreed. Completely agree.
I'm going to send you this over in your fantasy hotline.
El Tigre
And
said I don't trust Philly. I also think it's fun.
let's
That's
see.
why we play.
I can see how it would be fun for sure.
That's why we play. Want to be invested. We figure out Caleb's ceiling. Yeah. Well, we're all going to figure out Caleb's ceiling together. We can find that out in the first couple weeks, or
yeah.
Remember when? I remember week 1. TJ Stroud comes out. He gets freaking demolished by the Ravens. Like, oh, it's gonna be a long one.
It felt like that, didn't it?
It felt like that. It's gonna be a long season for CJ, and then my guy turns it around.
So my wife is being awesome, and she's going to get me some supplements that I need while I'm working. I need to just give her the address. So do you want to move on to the next team? And
yeah,
I'll catch up here. Again, if you guys want your team reviewed, become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. But I'm gonna let Badaki get over to the next team, which is Rowan here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Rowan. Oh boy. Me and Rowan, we always trying to cook up some trades, brother. How you doing, Rowan? We appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Let me pull up your team on my end, and then we can get to you, and then I can read this context out. All right, this is 10 team. All right, 10 team SuperFlex 1.5 tight end premium start 9. Since you guys read my team last year, right after I won the league first ring, and was going into the rookie draft with no capital. Different story this year, although I did make a push. I fell short at the end, coming in second place last year. That's tough. On January 3rd, I traded Kittle, Pacheco, and Michael Wilson for Ingram, the 107 and the 205. I think that's a great trade, by the way. Then an hour later, I traded Mike Evans, Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris, and Jalen Warren for the 104, 309, and Parker Washington. Okay. Well, we'll circle back to that. My first instinct is like, maybe you could have gotten more, but the 104 is a top, and this draft feels great. Might have been overpaid, okay, but it certainly wasn't at the end of the trade talks. 2 hours and a half later, I traded Cooper Kupp and Evan Ingram for DK Metcalf, including a third swap. Okay. Lastly, less than 2 hours after that, I traded Rashee Rice in 226 thirds for Rashad White and my own 25 second in a 3-way deal. Okay. The middle team traded Rashad White and the 110 for Garrett Wilson and the 305, and the bottom team sent Wilson the 305 and my 25 second for White, 110 and 226 thirds. Just recently, I traded Rashad White and the 205 for Waddle before the draft while trying to sell him. Okay, I like that trade. The rookie draft is this week, so I was wondering what direction I should take my team. I have a glaring hole at RB2 and QB2. The league is very active in making deals besides the bottom 2 on Keep Trade Cub, but even though 2 shouldn't be ruled out as a trade partner. Those 2 should be ruled out as a trade partner. Excited to hear what you guys came up with. Please be honest. I have thick skin and can take whatever you throw at me, so to speak. Your hearts don't hold back. Hey, we appreciate you, Rowan. Thank you so much. Rowan and I have been trying to trade literally this whole offseason, which we did. And now he's trying to trade right back up to the spot. So we appreciate you. Let's look at your team here as Zach is still on his way back. Let me get the team name. What's your team name, Rowan? Is it Rowan? Or am I tripping?
Hey, I'm here. Sorry.
No, you're good. Can you give us a team name there, Rowan? I don't think you put that in the context, unless I completely missed it. Okay. Team 5. Go ahead, catch up on that context there, and I'll have a look at this team here. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones. So yes, glaring hole at the QB2 position, like you mentioned. But look, Daniel Jones is a huge step up this year now that he's back, and Aaron Rodgers is also a huge step up. So I think that's great. That you could potentially getting somebody here at the quarterback position at the 104 potentially, or the 107. Running backs, Breece Hall, Jamal Williams. This is a tough one. Wide receivers are Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, Josh Downs, Curtis Samuel. The list goes on with Trey McBride at the tight end position. Look, I don't think this team's terrible, but let me have a look at the top guys here. Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Bijan, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, Nico. And he has 3 top 5 picks. Bryce Young, Jordan Love, Deshaun Watson, Travis Etienne, Drake Lund, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Tank Dell, Stan Laporta, and he has the 101. And then Team 3, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Addison, and he has two top 10 picks.
Okay, I just caught up and I'm looking at the team.
Look, I'm not. I think, I'll be honest with you, my first initial reaction is like, let's break it down. Because you don't have the draft capital. And if you were to use these two players here, these two picks for this draft capital, it's still not going to put you in a to compete with the top 4 teams.
It is interesting because you're like, what's the, remind me of the format? It's a start 9. Ooh.
To start 9 and tight end premium.
I don't know, dude. I mean, so like start 9, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver.
Like, he can definitely make moves, but we're pivoting down.
1 tight end. I don't think I am, though. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. That's not that big of a starting roster.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a running back, which he can't get in this one unless we tier down a wide receiver.
Right, I hear you.
And QB2.
So I
look,
think
we can't get a wide receiver.
Sorry?
No, I'm saying you can't get a quarterback and a wide receiver, but that's my initial feel right now, especially with the top 4 teams ahead of him.
So I don't know. The way I look at it is like if a Jaden Daniels falls to you, or you go Neighbors at the 104, and then at the 107 you grab a McCarthy or a May if they're there. That could very quickly like fix a lot of these issues. The only thing is RB2.
Sure.
But if you are only starting 9, let's say you ended up with Daniels, you got Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. That's fantastic. Breece Hall, you got Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Waddle, and DK. You've already got your flex figured out, but you've also got Deontay Johnson there, and then Trey McBride. So really, and by the way, we didn't even talk about like Neighbors. There's a real scenario here where you very easily compete, and I think I wouldn't like force a trade down, because if I still end up with Neighbors and a Dunze, for example, I can use those guys in a trade. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can use Waddle now to get a running back. I can use Metcalf to get a running back. I can use Neighbors if I don't believe in. I can use a Dunze. So I think you're very quickly potentially competing in this league.
I can definitely see that pathway here, and I think, Rowan, let us know your top 3 picks in this draft with the way you think you're going to pan out here, because the 101. I'm trying to find the 101 here. 101 is Team 2, Deshaun, Jordan Love, Bryce Young.
I think we know the 101 and the 102 is probably going in one order. We need to find the 103.
Well, 103 is the 102. Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy. So he could go. He doesn't have to go, respectfully, quarterback here.
Yeah, he can go Marvin, Neighbors, Malik.
Marvin,
he kind of needs it, to be honest, when you look at his team, and he's still got the 105. So
Daniel could score you.
In his head, why would I not go Marvin and Malik and then get either May or McCarthy at the 105? Because if he goes Marvin Daniels, you're probably going Neighbors, and at the 105 he gets another quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Rowan says 101 Caleb, 202 Marvin, 103 Neighbors, just like we were talking about here. Look, with that window and the way this draft is falling for you, I think you can get some opportunities to compete here, with that 104 being Daniels for you. If you're locking Daniels and at the 107, you can get a Roma Dunze. Or how about we trade back from the 107 and get some capital? Can you get,
depending on what that looks like? Yeah,
I mean, can you get obviously we'll talk about it, but can you get the 112 and the 202, or the 111 and the 202, or the 201, and then get Lamb McConkey and Brooks or Benson? That changes things here. But at the same time, however way you feel about these running backs, some people don't believe that these running backs are going to be instant returns, right? So maybe you still need to get running backs that are veterans that are going to get opportunity to help your team, especially in a 10-man league here. So
if we still can pick, it sounds like it's Daniels and Roma Dunze, and those would be great additions to your team, because Even if you wanted to shop, like that gives you the freedom to shop a Metcalf, a Waddle. You know, I think you keep AJ and Puka, but maybe you shop an AJ. Like, can AJ net you a Bijan in a deal or a Gibbs? You know, but even if you lost AJ Brown, you still get Puka, Waddle, Metcalf, Adunze, Deontay. You know, so I think it. Rowan, tell me, what's the percentage chance you think Daniels is going to be there for you? Would you say 80% chance Daniels is there? Because that could not fit your roster any better, honestly. Rowan says, I doubt it's Adunze at the 107. The owner of the 106 is pretty dead set on him. So that's actually fine as well, because then you're telling me that you think it's, what,
Another
McCarthy?
quarterback. Another quarterback's going to be there. And is there a team that wants to trade up from that spot?
He says Daniels probably 95%. And honestly, I don't hate it if it's Daniels and McCarthy, by the way.
Like Team 9. Well, you said the two bottom teams that don't really want to trade, and they need quarterbacks there. So you could get some capital moving back if you wanted to. Team 7, Team 8, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. I don't think he's going to move back. Anthony Richardson, Tua. This is the hard part. There's minimum teams, and there's literally only one team that has a first-round pick that needs quarterback in this draft specifically.
Sure.
And that's Team 9. Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Hooker.
I would say either way though, you're chilling. If it's a Dunes or it's McCarthy, you're chilling. But Badaki's right that we could trade back from the 107. And honestly, it depends on what the return is, but I'd be willing to trade back from the 108 all the way to like the 201 range, depending on what on the return. But let's look at some of those teams. Let's start at the bottom and go up. Who has a 201? Like, could that far back net us a first somehow? If we add our second?
201 is Team 2.
But then you have to ask yourself, I'm losing McCarthy, who we know is probably going to gain value. And this is a 12-man or a 10-man?
This is a 10-man.
10-man. Team 2.
Maybe the best thing is to not do that then. And then see what your 25. I'm just thinking, but like you don't want to give up 25 first. Like then, how about we don't do that? We stick and pick, and we see what our future picks can give us in return as a running back.
Maybe.
But then it puts us in a tough situation because literally next year you only have a second and a third in 2025 in a really strong running back class.
So if you move the 107, I'm going to start at the 201 here. A couple different ways that you could go about this. I mean, I would say, could I get my hands on Travis Etienne in this trade down? And I will send them back my 2025 second. This is interesting to me. So we get Etienne. And still at the 201, we can use the 201 on what are the players we've seen there before? Knicks.
Well, this is a one quarterback or 10 teams.
Sorry, that's perfect. So that's Ladd, McConkey,
Xavier.
That's Worthy.
I mean, we haven't even mentioned Brock Bowers.
Maybe Bowers.
This is a tight end premium. I'm assuming Bowers is going to go higher. So trading back could be prime because some of these guys will fall to you. Let us know, Rowan.
I think this deal really interests me because we are triggering a compete straight away. He's getting set on getting more running backs. Okay. So
right. So the guy with team 2 is set on getting more running backs, which we just kind of said.
So if we don't move back to the 201, then who has the 110? Would it be Team 3? Team 3.
201 is the 111, so 202. You mean the 202?
Sorry?
You mean the 202?
The 110.
Oh, the 110. Sorry, I'm thinking of SuperFlex, and I was thinking like.
Oh, that's all right. The 110. He also has the 108. So this guy is a great guy to trade with because look at all those running backs, man. I mean, this couldn't be more perfect to start a conversation with this guy.
He's also my brother, right?
So Pacheco, Monty, Stevenson, which running back is he willing to give up to us? What could we give him in return to make this deal happen? I mean, could we offer him like a Downs in this situation? You know, the 107 plus Downs. You give me the 110 and Pacheco, the 110 and Monty, the 110 and Stevenson. I don't really even mind which of those running backs he gets in return. But I would do that. So the 107, I'll send you Josh Downs. Give me the 110. Can I have Pacheco here? Pacheco seems pretty fair. Let's rule it at Pacheco and Monty, one of those two names. I would do this in a heartbeat. Pacheco, Montgomery. They're saying that you're overpaying for Montgomery. I'm assuming the same they're going to say for Stevenson. So that is a really ideal move to me. And also, if you show it to him with Monty or Pacheco in a trade calculator, it's showing him that he's probably winning the deal. You're moving down to the 110. We've seen McCarthy fall to the 110 anyway. But at worst case, you are getting same thing we just mentioned, a McConkey, a Worthy, a Bowers. It's one of those guys. It's just one spot difference.
If I'm not mistaken, he did trade away. No, it was Rashad White. That was Rashad White that you were saying. I was thinking about. I thought it was Pacheco.
Right. The 108 also super interesting. Who has? Sorry, the 109. The 109 is Team 9. He has really no one.
I thought that as well. He did trade away Pacheco, by the way. Yes.
But even going from the 107 to the 109, can that guy give you like his 205 and then we will give him our second next year maybe? No, that doesn't make sense. We'll give him our 2025 third. That's the starting point.
For the 205 and moving back to the 109.
I'd be willing to do that. I don't think I would do it for the 301. I don't think you're getting enough. But actually, this is a 10-man. I don't think
10-man
you're getting
is difficult. I'm wondering if some of these trade backs is probably not ideal.
I would do the 301 plus like either a second next year or yeah, if he could offer a second next year and we get a pick swap in that, a 25 second, I'll give him my 25 third. That's another option. All these deals, you're getting the player that you want anyway, and you're adding value. The last thing that I was going to look at was the 202 is also in range where you can move back.
202 is 202 is Team 9. Rowan said, I sent the 107 plus Downs deal for Pacheco and it was declined.
Well, there's not going to be any sense of reality in this league then.
That's why I was thinking like I'm thinking if we might have to keep the 104 and then be okay with overpaying to get a running back here, whatever that looks like.
I wouldn't cave my value because the league overvalues a guy like Pacheco.
Sure. And then you can't make a move.
He says, yeah, well, then I'm not making a move. I'll wait for people to figure out that their players aren't as valuable as they think they are. He said, look, here's the thing, Rowan. I wouldn't send the 107 for Pacheco straight up. So if he's saying, no, I'm not a Downs guy, sorry, we do not understand each other's valuation then.
Right.
Okay, it wasn't the straight. Well, what was the full trade then, Rowan? The deal you suggested Okay, so you've already sent that, you're saying. All right, well, what player does he like on your team? I tell him you can do it for Downs, you can do it for Palmer, you can do it for Samuel. But you're not doing it for Deontay Johnson. You're not doing that for DK Metcalf. Pacheco's not even more valuable than DK Metcalf. So find out what the wiggle room is with him. But yeah, I think the other route that you could look at is like veterans. Like Aaron Jones comes to mind pretty quickly here.
Well, he did kind of mention that he was talking about Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. He said, I was in trade talks with the owners of Zach Moss, Samir White, and the owners of Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. Would you target any of those players? I would. You know, I feel like the only way you can get those guys is by sending your 25-second to acquire a Joe Mixon, a Derrick Henry. I don't know if I'm doing that for Zach Moss personally or Samir White. But Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon, I'm willing to sacrifice my 25.
Would you send Moss? Second. Would you send Downs for Moss?
Yeah, I'll send Downs for Moss.
So who has Downs or Moss? This guy, Team 7 does. He's stacked at running back, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do Alvin Kamara as well, if you like Alvin Kamara, Rowan.
I don't think you can get it done for a 25-second, but maybe he's open to it. Maybe it starts a conversation. I mean, or alternatively, like Downs in a third. I don't know. That's the conversation starter.
He said, I sent my 25-second for Moss and White and was declined.
Well,
he said it was close, though. Oh, well, then honestly, like, what's close? Like,
what I'm understanding here is that you sent a second, tried to get Moss and White, Rashad White, and I think we would all say no to that, unless I'm misunderstanding. Rashad White and Moss are worth more than that.
No, Zamir White.
Oh, okay. 25-second. Yeah, both of them might be a little too much.
Well, then I'm happy to send like a third there. I'm happy to send my 25-second and third. Well, maybe not from, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in Moss.
Neither, but if you can get both of them for your 25-second and third, I'm fine with that. Or even, what about your 25-second and Downs? And these aren't guys that we feel great about building around long term, but he said, I'd rather keep the only running backs under 25. So that is an option for you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is another option for you as well. But Mixon, honestly, like if you can get any of these guys for Josh Downs, Zamir White, Aaron Jones even, it sounds like, in this league, I would pay a 25-second and Downs for Henry in this league.
For Henry, I would do the same thing for that for White, and honestly Mixon. I'm a big believer in Mixon, Henry, and White. I feel comfortable doing now that they didn't get another running back. Obviously, they got Bucky, but I'm not too concerned about that.
Yeah. Pretty sure the entire league does not like Downs. They must all be me. Terrence says that he would trade Alvin Kamara for the 106 this year.
I have AK trade for the 106. I mean,
I think we all would, brother. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we all would. Rowan says, would you send Downs in a second for Henry straight up? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would. 100%.
I think Henry's the guy there for the next 2 years. Could be wrong, but you're going to risk a second-round pick for it. Henry puts you in that window to compete as well. And by the way, if you went that route,
you still have your first.
You still have your first, so you'll get Daniels and whatever you get at the 107. So you'll still add value to your team. And if you get in a doomsday or something there, then you can trade that guy later for a running back if you need.
I think those are the best thing to do. I don't think I'm trading my first in 24 and keeping them and trying to do deals with second and downs. Even second, and I mean, I actually said, do you prefer Henry Mixon on or Henry and Mixon a 3-year deal? I personally have Mixon higher than Henry, but I don't know where Zach stands.
I'd be pretty comfortably Henry over Mixon, just because I get it's a 3-year contract. I'm sorry. Based off of Joe Mixon's efficiency in the last 2 years, I have no reason to believe that he's going to be the starter in that 3-year time span. So
Sure.
I just think Henry is the guy I'd bet on if I'm looking at the next 2 years alone. The third year, we don't really know.
I like Henry though. Like I'm not opposed to Henry. Like they're not far off in my ranking. So keep that in mind, Rowan. But like, I think when I think of that offense, I think Mixon is going to be scoring. But at the same time, we saw like the arguments for both, right? Mixon has always been
in a redraft league. Let's think about it that way, because you're really trying to compete this year, and these guys are both on short.
Sure.
They're both not long-term plays, really.
In a redraft league is Henry, but I think of Mixon, and I think
by a long shot.
For me, the way I think of it is that I actually believe in Mixon, and that's purely based off of his efficiency on the goal line. He may not be the most efficient runner, but on the goal line, he's pretty solid. He's been one of the we've always seen in the second half him getting all these touchdowns.
I feel like that argument goes more for Henry in that offense.
I think it goes for both of those guys. But like in Henry in that offense, yes. I'm going based off of Mixon's history with
I'll
Joe
go based
Burrow.
off Derek's Henry, but I get it. I mean, Derek's history. I mean, look, we don't need to turn this into a Derek Henry versus Joe Mixon debate, but either way, I think you're sitting pretty with one of those options.
Yeah, which one of those guys? I think the way I'm thinking about it now, I'm not selling my first there, Rowan.
I would still move back for any of these options.
If I can move back, sure. Because that means I'm getting a better running back. But I'm not forcing that. I'm not forcing that trade. If they're not wanting it, I'm happy to stick and pick with my first and see what I can do with my second round picks.
Rowan says, would you be targeting seconds or third this year for shots on RBs? I mean, I would, but Rowan, here's the problem with that is if you're targeting a third, at best you get Jalen Wright. Not going to help you this year unless Mostert gets injured.
There's no running backs that's going to help
Lloyd,
you this year, in my opinion,
have a Jacobs injury.
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks and Benson.
The way it feels right now is, outside of those guys.
So you would have to target early, and that's going to cost too much.
I think the best bet is to go for a veteran running back. And if you do get a Benson or a Brooks, I think they help you, but like don't be surprised if they're not going to be consistent throughout the season. One of the 203 said that they were willing to move.
So the 203 would get you a running back. They wouldn't give you the same production as one of those names we mentioned this year, though. But I mean, if you can move, no one likes Downs, but I would instantly move Downs. I mean, I would send Downs in like a third as like a starting option, any future third. But you could also, well, let's flip that. You could also try and send like a Deontay here because you technically don't need Deontay Johnson. Right? Like those are the two deals that come to mind instantly, but DK's worth more, Waddle's worth more, Brees. You're not selling Aaron.
This particular conducts the Downs hate train. How many wide receivers again? 4, you said?
You can start 4. Yes, 4.
Yeah, I think Deontay Johnson, if it's not, look, I'll say this. If at the 107 you get Rome Odunze or another quarterback here, so at the 104, you're saying Daniels. At the 107, it's going to be Rome Odunze or JJ McCarthy. If it is Rome Odunze, I'm happy to sell the likes of Downs or Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I agree. I'd sell one of them either way, though, to get to a mid-second. I think you would, too.
Yeah, I'm happy to sell Deontay Johnson.
Would you sell the 107 for a top-tier running back? Not based off the way your league sounds. I mean, your league sounds like it overvalues running backs more than most. So I'm imagining.
Well, we just had a live stream. We just had a stream yesterday or 2 days ago saying that Bijan Robinson was worth the 103. People were
Yeah.
saying they would do the 103. They would take the Bijan Robinson over the 103, and we were like, hell no,
So
we wouldn't do that.
I imagine at the 107, you'll get an Etienne in this league, a Kyron, a Pacheco, an Achan maybe, and none of those guys are worth the 107 in this format, in this draft, respectfully. If you could get a JT, absolutely, somehow wiggle your way in there, but I don't think it's a good mesh when you look at like pick value versus what your league is asking for. Like, let me ask you this, Rome. What running back do you think? What's the range you think you could get for the 107 in your league? What's that range of running back in your opinion? The 107 in 2 seconds were traded for Kyron a month ago. Yeah, so you got the 107 is what it sounds like, right?
We would have done that, and we would have done that. And you got 2 seconds
For the 107 alone, we would have done that.
100%.
So it doesn't sound like your league really, like your league overvalues the position is what it sounds like.
No, I got in another trade.
So that would make it really tough to align that pick with a running back. Do you have anything I'm missing though, Badaki?
No, I think I agree. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, would you send? No, I wouldn't do the 104. I wouldn't do a quarterback.
He says I could get Etienne and Saquon, maybe Saquon. That's funny. You could maybe get Saquon at the 107. See, that's just not gonna work. You could get the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Or Saquon Barkley. Like, I don't know, dude. That's not going to work for me, but I don't know if you feel differently.
I'm just thinking of what I would do here. 104, 107. Waddle, DK. Should I set an offer for the 107 for JT?
Yeah, that would be a perfect fit for you. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't sound like your league would say yes to it, but definitely send it. There's no harm in sending it. No harm in sending it.
No, you just gotta send it.
I don't think it would get accepted though.
I think it's a tough one. Like, I think if some of these other trades weren't going to get accepted, like you mentioned, it would be hard to believe that this will get accepted. But every owner is different, and every owner values different players in different ways. But yes, I mean, if you can get the 107 for Jonathan Taylor, that instantly changes your team here. And then at the 104, I would still be going Daniels. Since if Neighbors there at the 104, what does that look like?
Honestly, it doesn't sound like that's a bad thing at all, because you take Malik Neighbors, and then it sounds like you're going to get a May or a McCarthy here at the 107, and that's completely fine if that's the way it happens.
And if that is the way that happens, then that moves up to then I'm happy to start selling DK Metcalf.
Yeah, DK, or even as crazy as it sounds, if you want to go hard at running back, can I sell an AJ Brown for one of those superstars? Not that we don't want AJ Brown, but just that, hey, a lineup of Puka, Neighbors, Waddle, Metcalf, Deontay is totally fine if we somehow get a star at running back, you know? It just gives you a lot more flexibility ultimately.
Yeah, it gives you a lot more flexibility if that does happen, and then we're happy with either one of those quarterbacks. Because look, if JJ McCarthy doesn't start this year, you still have a starting quarterback in Aaron Rodgers.
And maybe Daniel Jones. Well, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on when he starts and if he's going to be ready for the season.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, like, the reason why we say that is because at the moment, a lot of people believe JJ McCarthy is going to be Sam Darnold that starts. We don't know that. It could be McCarthy. But still, you have a franchise quarterback there with Justin Jefferson. You said, well, the 105 owner was looking to move up one spot to the 104. I sent him the 104 for the 105 and the 203. He countered the 303.
It's like, what are we talking about, dude? That's pointless.
100%.
You want me to move back one spot for the 303? Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry. but you wouldn't do that. Tell him. Just ask him, would you do this if you were me? You wouldn't. And if he tells you, yeah, why wouldn't I do it? He'd be like, okay, I don't trust you.
I already said no. I mean, yeah, look.
I would make a deal to move back, but it's probably what you just sent him. And maybe that changes in the draft when he's like, oh shit, I can actually get neighbors here, right now. Let's look at that team. What they have.
Look, the only thing I would do in the counter to make him happy, because I know the talent in this draft class, is do a 25-second swap. That's what I would do.
Even then, I
think it's because I know what I'm going to be getting here at the 203. Obviously, yeah, that's me devaluing the 25 class.
So it looks like the guy wants to take Daniels as well. He wants to move up. He wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He wants Neighbors, Daniels, and Marvin. He wanted to pick 3 times in a row because it would be cool. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter to me if it would be cool. But I'll trade back for Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
Give me James Cook. Give me Kendre Miller in that 303. So let me hit you back with some more options there, okay? So he wants the 104. Well, give me the 105 and Tajay. Give me the 105 plus Kendre plus your 303. Give me the 105 and James Cook. I'll give you the 104 plus my 25 second. And like you mentioned, you can always go back to the old reliable, the 104. Give me your 105 and your 203, brother. If it's that, how cool is it? How cool is it to pick 3 in a row? You tell me. Just how cool is it?
He refused to move Cook.
Well, the guy sounds completely unreasonable because he has so many running backs. So, I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't sound like a deal's going to get done. But those are 4 options you could send him.
And implement that land method, brother. Get that trade window going.
Yeah.
And get some more time to talk about these guys and get some things.
The land method would be perfect for you because you're on the clock at the 104. You call your trade window, and it's like, all right, buddy.
He's juicing. He wants it. He wants it bad too. You know, he wants to.
But Aki, that is what people miss when they haven't experienced the land method. Is that moment where you're the person who wants that pick? Do you know how desperately I wanted Trey Benson yesterday? I would not have done that deal before the draft. It put me in a state of like, I need my guy. But anyway, I think you're in a good spot here, man. I
think you are in a good spot.
Originally, when we looked at it, we were like a little bit limited here, but I actually think there is moves.
I actually think I'd rather have Malik Neighbors and a quarterback at the 107 rather than going Daniels, because that opens up more opportunities for you to trade. I think you're limited.
I would be fine with
all the way around.
I don't think so, because you still get.
Well, he's saying at the 106, Adunze is going to go off the board. So, and then you get 2 quarterbacks, which is still good. See, I'd rather have Neighbors too, but I don't have a choice. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, let it fall the way that it's going to fall to you. I mean, either way, I think you're in a very good spot.
I agree. I think you're in a good spot. Excuse me. I think in those seconds. I think your best bet right now is Neighbors, Fulci at the 104, quarterback at the 107, and then Neighbors. And then running backs. You acquire running backs with your second round picks. Yeah. That's how I'm envisioning it.
I just sent you that whiteboard over on the Fantasy Hotline. Rowan, let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover before we move on to the next person. Let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover that you would like us to cover for you. We'd be happy to look at that. But we did get a super chat from Matt, so let's not leave Matt hanging here.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate you, brother. One quarterback start, 8 non-tight end premium. I have the 102, 103, 107, and the 109. Trade the 107 plus a 25 reigning champ first for the 104. Thinking about walking away, drafting Neighbors, Rome, and Brock. Non-tight end premium. So you trade the 107 and the 109 for the 104. No. Trade 107 and a 25 first for the 104. What you're saying is late. So you're going to get Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, and then you're trying to go up for the 104 for and then Brock Bowers at the 104.
I wouldn't do it personally.
We wouldn't do that, yeah.
I think because it's a start 8, it's really intriguing because it's smaller rosters. But I would still walk away with Neighbors, a Dunze, and then at the 7, I'd be happy with a Brooks Benson, or one of those wide receivers if Bowers doesn't fall, like a Worthy, a McConkey, or Brian Thomas Jr. So I don't think I would do it, but I understand why you'd want to.
Yeah, I get that. And in the non-tight end premium, in a one quarterback league, Matt, I don't know when you have your draft. We're going to release a one quarterback video here sometime this week. And we just recorded it today. And I kind of talked to you about, what happens in a non-tight end premium where I'd be taking Brock Bowers. So if you want to wait for that video to kind of give you a little bit more of an understanding of maybe how I would do it and maybe what Zach would do if we were in that situation.
Yeah. There's no premium, but it is only start 8, so there almost is a premium in that way, if that makes sense, in that onesie position. So
Sure.
It's close, but I think it's a little too rich.
Tight ends already.
If I knew I could get also a second back, I would do it. So like if you could counter and say, give me the 107, give me the 104, and a second in any future year, then I would feel comfortable pulling that trigger. But because this class is so stacked, I just feel like I'd rather just take more shots in the class, even though it's
how I feel.
Yeah.
Historically, champs have like stacked starting lineups and not be playing along with Bowers. Yeah, look, I get it. And I think if you have a decent tight end here, but you're also trying to build in that tight end room, like if you're telling me you have Dalton Kincaid and you want to make that move for Brock Bowers, I don't think you should. But if you're telling me you have a Jake Ferguson, I get it. A Cole Kmet, I get it. But I think I said it earlier, but I don't think it's dumb. If I have Evan Ingram right now, I'm not forcing the tight end position for Brock Bowers. Some people believe differently.
In this league, I would view it differently.
Yeah.
In a one quarterback start 8, I would view it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine.
I would be in on Bowers there.
Just all depends on how you envision that, Matt, which it looks like you might be siding with Zach's side, and that's fine. Like, go for it.
I definitely get both sides for sure. I think the format changes it for me a little bit. Again, one quarterback start 8, smaller rosters. I think those guys do make a difference. And Ingram is not like that,
Yeah, he's not like your generational talent, but I think what we saw from him this past year.
Yeah, he's a great starter for right now.
He kind of solidifies that role for me in a smaller league.
12-man, SuperFlex, start 10 or 11, I agree. One quarterback, start 8, I see it differently, but
yeah,
it's close.
Fine. It is close.
Hunter, I think you did submit correctly, my man. We see you down there. I sent you a friend request. But we are going to go on to the next team. We saw Rowan had one more question. He said, are you looking to get more with my style of team or use mine as a trade capital? Would you keep my first or sell to fully contend? I wouldn't sell to fully contend. I don't think you need to contend. I would keep those picks because ultimately, what if Breece Hall goes down with an injury? What if Trey McBride tears his ACL or if Josh Allen tears his ACL? Like, I don't think I would be willing to do that. I think you can send those pieces that won't screw you over as much and still get competitive rather than sending those future firsts in a team that is not deep enough to really do that.
Yeah, agreed.
We appreciate you, Rowan. Like always.
Use the fantasy hotline.
Yeah, exactly. Use that hotline.
You know what to do, brother. You know what to do. And we'll get a trade down in the hotel here soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support here. We're going to move on to the next team. Looks like.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
go
mind
for it.
throwing in downs in that deal, Matt. All right, we are moving on to the next team, but before we do, we want to let you guys know that if you want your Dynasty team reviewed, all you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. We put a direct link in the chat there for you. Not only do you unlock a Dynasty team review on a live stream, you also unlock everything you see here on your screen. Our rookie report, our rankings, a trade calculator, a DM to us. And of course, you're supporting us. You're keeping the lights on over here on the Dynasty Land channel. But the next person that we have for today, and this is probably the last one for today just due to time. But don't worry. Well, these live streams will not stop.
Don't worry, there's more.
Don't worry. There's always another live stream. Is HallGoat.
HallGoat, man, we appreciate you. Let us know if you're in the chat with us. If not, please use your fantasy hotline after you watch your review here. If you have any questions, 12-team PPR start, 8 non-tight end premium. It's a 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex spot.
He's here.
Also defense and kickers. That's awesome. We appreciate you. He said, just join this league as an expansion team. Previous a 10-man league. Knew it would be a challenge, but the roster I ended up getting from this expansion draft was rougher than I expected. Luckily, my first 2 years are free, and I don't see this team being built up in 1 year. Also, I've been playing in start 10 and 11. So how should I be adjusting to play in a start 8, which we'll get to? Draft is in a few weeks, so any advice on how to get this roster from 0 to hero would be greatly appreciated. Love the content, keep the grind. Appreciate you, man. And some trades. The trades I already made. Got Tankdale for the 111 and the 311. PJ for the 2-6. Huge mistake. Mixon and Singletary for the 109 and the 25.
He's saying that to bust your balls, but I actually would prefer the 206.
Yeah, I would as well. I would. I can't lie about that. I would prefer the 206. I mean, this is 1 quarterback. What's this? No. This is 1 quarterback. 206 is
still.
Ooh, 206. I don't know, man. I need to see who that 206 could be.
206 and a 12-man and a 1 quarterback for me would be a Burton, a Lloyd, a Polk.
Yeah.
A Wright, a Corley, someone in that range.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If it's Polk, Burton, those guys like you mentioned, I'm happy to go with the 206 there. Mixing and Singletary for the 109 and a 25 second.
Yeah,
I think it's a phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at this team here. Can you tell us your team name?
Yeah.
Paul?
We know that he has Rice and Watson and Brown. And he's probably not at the top.
Yeah, he did say he was
2034 champions. Team 10.
Okay, Team 10.
You are ranked 38.
Oh boy. Here we go.
And you do have a Thanos in this league. The guy at the top in a start 8, by the way, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, CMC, JT, Saquon, Kyron, Tyreek, Diggs, Cup, Burks. So not too deep at wide receiver, but he has a 104 and the 105. He's got Kyle Pitts, Andrews, and Kelsey. Oh my God.
Praying for you.
That is and look at the draft capital. I don't know, dude.
He has 325 first, 325 first, but he has a lot of seconds, a lot of 26 seconds.
This league seems a little too far disproportioned, if I'm honest with you.
He has 426 seconds.
I love that they did an expansion, but what was the point of it if they're not going to give any like bonus picks to the people who expanded in? Like, why were you not given? Why is your first pick the 109? I don't know, dude. I don't know how fair this is.
I mean,
I'll be honest. If this was an expansion and you just did this year, this feels like pretty unfair.
2034 is reasonable though. Not much.
I don't know, man. Like, I would actually be kind of upset. Am I going too far in saying that? He doesn't even have his 25. Oh, he does have his 25 first.
He does have his 25
This
first.
seems kind of messed up.
Look, the fact that you have your picks in almost you have all of your picks here in the next 2 years, I think is good. Keep those picks.
That's true, but just like the whole thought of...
Yeah, I mean,
the whole thought of these guys bringing this guy into the league, even though this guy has... It's different if the guy has a dominant team and like the draft capital is like gone. This guy has a dominant team and he controls all the future drafts. I don't know that I'd want to burn a buy-in for 4 years. I hate to be Debbie Downer straight off the bat, but unless they told you like, hey, this is going to be really awful and I have all these picks and this is the situation of the league and this and that, I would kind of be like a little like, hey, I feel like it wasn't really well represented. Why would they want to spread the league even thinner?
So the guy can manipulate more people. Thanos can.
I'm trying to understand why they would want to spread it even thinner with these teams being so dominant.
Could have been a 2.
I don't know. I don't want to be rude, but I don't know that I would. You'll never find me leaving a league ever. But anyway.
Yeah, it's all good. He's here for a team review. We appreciate you there, Paul. Yeah, WG is right. You know, we got to roll up your sleeves, get to work on the whiteboard here. And let's do what we do.
By the way, I see your question tracks. Unfortunately, right now, we're just trying to help out the people who are, you know, supporting us over on the Flock Fantasy side. We want to give them their moment, their time in the sun. So hopefully y'all understand where we're coming from. Normally, we would be replying and try and be as active as we can, but just with these, we want to give these people like their time, you know, their time to shine. But we will get to that super chat Latino Heat in a second. But go ahead, sorry.
Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones. This is a 1 QB league, so you don't have the best quarterbacks, but something that you can work with so far. Chase Brown downtown, Deuce Vaughn. It's really nothing there besides Chase Brown.
And
wide receivers.
In reality, there might be nothing there.
And yeah, exactly. In reality, there might be nothing there. Wide receivers: Tank Dell, Richie Rich, Dontavion Wicks, Cortland Sutton. The list kind of goes on there as well. Not much besides Tank. The top 2 players, I would say. And there's no tight ends. And there's no tight end whatsoever. Zach standing up. He's frustrated. He's frustrated for you, brother. Zach, this is the difference between Zach. Zach gets into it. He's emotional. I'm emotional too, but I like to play my cool.
I just don't. This doesn't seem. I don't know. I guess I have to ask HallGoat how dedicated he is to this.
He says, I wasn't aware of the state of the league before I joined. Learning half of the league didn't want to expand, and Commissioner did.
Okay.
The middle ground was we joined.
That's.
But with poor rosters.
Of course. Okay. Okay, who's the commish?
The commish is Thanos.
Well, that's what I want to know. What's the commish's team name?
I want to see what I can do.
Okay, 2 free years. What is the commissioner's name? Because I have a feeling I know what's going on here.
Zach's going to look him in his eye, and you're going to time code this, and he's going to have a message for you.
No. I'm not going to call him out, but I think I know what's happening here. I want to know his name. His name is Neighbors Back. My neighbors moved back. Okay.
Well, he has a below average team, so
yeah, his team is below
no
average, so fair enough. But he's about to add Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors. So he's going to have a starting lineup of Herbert, Bijan, Najee, Neighbors, Pickens, Evans. So he's figuring some stuff out. Anyway, okay. Sorry, let's do what we're supposed to do here. But Aki, let's go to the whiteboard. This is sad though. Look at this.
Look,
this is all we got. They didn't even give you like a compensatory pick or whatever to join. Let's talk about it. What you doing here if you're sticking and picking? I'm trying not to get frustrated at this league.
He's pissed. No, you're already frustrated. You're already there. Don't say you're trying not to. You're frustrated. At 109. 109 is great Brian Thomas Jr. range. That's exactly where I'll be going there. Brian Thomas Jr. I know Bo Nix is definitely there, but honestly, I'll be building off of the wide receivers. At the 206 there and a one. Actually, this is a lie. This is one quarterback. So that's not Brian Thomas.
Yeah, that's Jr. not. You're right. That's.
I was thinking.
That's more. a spot. One of these names will be there. Benson, Brooks, Worthy, McConkey.
You could even go quarterback since I keep always emphasize this. If you don't have a top 12 quarterback, I'm happy to go Caleb Williams here at the 109. And see how you want to start building off with him in a one quarterback league. At the 206 there, like you said, Jalen Polk, the Jermaine Burns, the Malachi Corleys. That's kind of the range where these guys go. The Blake Corms are also in that range, depending on how you want to build this team. And at the 211,
and obviously, like all these picks, we would suggest best player available. But the great thing for you is that you've got our rookie report, which has our updated one quarterback rankings. So you'll be able to look at those one quarterback rankings whenever you want. I mean, a lot of people will do this. They'll look at the report and then they'll print it out. And then they'll mark off players as they go. So you can do that if you want to know exactly who both of us would have as the BPA.
Yeah.
But that's just true BPA across the board with those three picks.
Yeah, and you can go with best player available. Since this team is kind of more of a futuristic team and we're looking to pivot off of whatever we can, I'm happy to trade Tank Dell for a random 25 first. I'm happy to trade Rashee Rice once he's back on the field and not worried, whatever that looks like. Let's say you can sell him in season for a 25 first if that does come back up.
He just traded away the 111 for Tank, though. I think Tank. You build around Tank.
Yeah, that is true. Forgot you traded that. Got Tank Dell for the 111.
I think you build around Tank, and you can't sell Rice for anything worthwhile. You definitely hold him.
Not right now. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know that you can sell anyone, because in a one quarterback league,
you can't sell anyone.
Watson is already tough to sell in a SuperFlex league.
None of these guys are valuable at all. I'll be honest with you.
What would Watson get you in a one quarterback? Like, what does Keep Trade Cut say? I mean, I know it's not perfect, but I'm curious what.
I would take a second.
Like, I don't know. What do you think? A second? No. See, it's not even close. They're saying like the 306. Okay, more valuable than that with the 302. 302 range.
There's no one else you can sell on this team, to be honest with you, Hall. And you're right. Like, there's no point of selling Tank Dell if you just got him, unless you get Tank Dell for a higher return. Like, if there's a team out there.
But in a one quarterback, selling him for a random first, I think that's tough because you're probably
right.
You could be in a situation where
agree.
You end up with the champions 25 first, and you got the 112 next year.
This is what I would say. If you can get higher than the 111 that you got for Tank Dell already, which I highly doubt, but if there's somebody out there that really likes Tank Dell, maybe he's a Texans fan, I'm taking that trade and just pivoting off of that to try and maybe that's a quarterback. Maybe you get the 108, or maybe you get the 107. Maybe you have to send Tank Dell and Rashee Rice to get the 108 or the 107, whatever that looks like. I just don't see how any of these guys are going to help you here in the future, or even the next 2-3 years, even with this draft.
You're not competing in the next 2 years. So those guys I'm holding and seeing if they improve value.
I don't know if you're competing in the next 3 years.
I don't know if you're ever competing, honestly.
And I think that's just based off of Thanos up top. Like, I'm not saying like we can't build a good team to compete, but with a guy that owns literally.
Basically, this is what's happened. Like, think about it in this way, right? Think about if this was a startup. What happened in this startup was you lost your first 3 round picks. Sorry, you lost your first 4 rounds of your startup picks. And they decided to give you a 5th, a 7th, a 9th round pick. And then said, you can have all the picks from rounds 15 onwards, though. That's what this league did to you. It's like, okay, this sounds good. Wait, that sounds messed up. Team 3 says he's interested in Watson. Okay, well, that's good that literally anyone is interested. That is fantastic to hear.
He needs quarterback.
What do we have again? So, I think this is not going to happen, but is there a way you can get the 204 if you send him, like, your 411? That's not going to happen, is it? Well, the only other option is straight up for the 301. Would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no point of keeping Deshaun Watson in this league.
Maybe you ask for the 301 and the 308. Maybe that's a little more fair. At least that means, because he owns his future picks, right? Okay, you've got your pick in 25. That's great.
Yeah, 25 and 26.
That's good.
Which is good. And I think these guys are in selling season, honestly. I mean, whatever you can get for Matthew Stafford, he's having a good game, good season. Maybe there's an injured quarterback out there, and they need somebody. Matthew Stafford, what does that vet you? In season, maybe he's a top 12 quarterback at the time, and I don't know, Jordan Love goes down. Okay, what you squeeze as much as possible. Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors are tearing it up, but Trevor Lawrence goes down again. Hey, what can I get for DJ? You know, and that literally is said for every other player on your team. I know Zach Moss is going to be the guy over there in Cincinnati, but if he goes down, what can I get for Chase Brown? Same thing with Dontavion Wicks. Same thing with Gabe Davis, if he's truly the guy. Or I don't think he's a guy, but you know what I mean. Like, if anything happens, Marvin Mims, what if he was the guy?
Yeah.
So I'm pivoting in season with.
They don't like you literally. So, this is so dumb though. Like, your third best player is who? Is it Chase Brown or?
EG said this is the start with a paperclip and trade up to a house eventually.
HallGoat, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, because you didn't build this team. You were given this and told, hey man, this is a fun idea. We're going to expand the league. Even though one team is dominating everyone, let me ask you this. How did the expansion work? Because did any of these teams give up assets they actually wanted? It feels like none of these teams actually gave up anything in this expansion. They were like, yeah, let's start an expansion. And, oh, by the way, I'll give him my, give him Marvin Mims for my team.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to lose Noah Fant, but if it means we can expand, I'll give him Noah Fant. I'd feel hard done by.
Yeah, this is not ideal. So it gave up like 3 to 4 players, and me and the other guys got picked back and forth.
Yeah, so look at this guy's team. This is
all gave up 3 to 4 players, and they gave up the worst player on the team.
That's what it feels like.
They gave up their 100%, because these are the players that nobody wanted. Nobody cared about these guys, and I bet you the guy that gave up Tank Dell was probably Team 1. Well, maybe he could have gave up Treylon Burks and John Domingo and all those other guys.
I'm sure they had some rules in place, but he says, I appreciate the effort, boys. Yeah, like, honestly, don't send this to your league, because it's just me fucking roasting your commissioner and telling everyone that they're not awesome people from doing that. But, I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem very fair, and it doesn't sound like they really gave you the full information before you agreed to be there. But I have never left a league, and I never will.
Got tanked from Team 8, he said.
So this is the only route forward. At least you have your future first-round picks. But guess what? You couldn't have not had them because of an expansion draft. They literally could not have not given you those first-round picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is silly season from these people, man.
Silly.
Let us know if we didn't answer anything well enough. Holly, let us know, HallGoat, if there's something we didn't answer that you wanted us to answer, please. I'm so sorry that we just trashed this league this entire time. While we're waiting, we did get a donation from Latino Heat. It says, one quarterback, trade the 110 and Kendre Miller for Addison, ? I think I would need to know more information about that league.
One quarterback, trade the 110 and Kendre Miller.
How deep are those rosters? And a one quarterback, I value running back a little bit more, so Kendre's tough to lose. And at the 110, I know I'm getting what?
110. I was gonna say I think I
I
might be
think I'd
taking
take
out.
Addison
You
there,
could
yeah.
take a quarterback there at the 110, 109. You could potentially get a Brock Bowers. You could potentially get a, the list kind of goes on. But
Yeah,
I think I'm
I
taking Addison
think I'm
here
taking
with,
Addison too.
yeah, because Kendrick Miller, as much as I like, I'm not stressing about it if I know my running back room is okay.
Yeah.
Look, Hall, we appreciate you. Um, please let us know if you have any other questions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're definitely
I'm
sorry
sorry.
about that, and it's pretty shit what that league did to you. But
Well, I'm just saying sorry that I wasn't very positive. Just
and use your
frustrating.
fancy hotline. And I know like you just used one of your team reviews, but you can always get another team review or another team reviewed, not via the live stream, but like via the hotline, and we can review
As
another
in,
team if you wanted to.
yeah, so just so everyone knows, you only get one live stream team review. And the reason for that is quite simple. If we offered unlimited, we would literally never stop streaming our entire lives.
Yeah.
And we had
So
no
like,
time for anything else. But you get one live review, and then in your hotline, you can ask us questions. So if you had another team, you were like, hey, I think about this move. What do you think? You can send us those kind of questions over in the hotline.
yeah.
But
We appreciate you though. Like, thank you so much for the support.
yeah. Our light goal today was 50. We're at 48, so we almost made it. We appreciate you guys for showing some love to the stream. Like we said, if you want your team reviewed, it's very, very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. Direct link is in the chat. It's also in the description. But when you sign up, you get a bunch in return, including that rookie report. We've got some awesome feedback from people on that rookie report. A lot of people were surprised the amount of information that was in the report, the in-depth breakdown that we go in, the historical data that's in it. People were very, very surprised how in-depth that report is. So not only do you get this review, you also get that rookie report. We go live next. We'll be live tomorrow.
With a live rookie draft.
Not for team reviews. Yeah, we'll be live for the live draft. But next week we go live at least 2 times a week. Doing
Sunday
these
nights, I think for you guys is the next time we are going to be live for you. Tomorrow is a rookie draft. Then we go live Sunday night.
Because I think the Delta League
is Monday night.
No, you might be right. You might be right. Tuesday.
We'll keep you updated. Just keep turn your notifications on.
No, you are right. Sorry, it is Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night. Normally 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go live reviewing some teams next week. But tomorrow we have another live rookie draft, which should be fun and banned. Yeah. So definitely come in. Both Alpha and Bravo has been absolutely hilarious. So come through.
But hey, guys, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. I did just drop a video this morning. It was a requested video about the land method. I would really encourage anyone who has an upcoming rookie draft, go look at that video and send it to your commissioner. If you want to model the way we do our rookie drafts, it's pure chaos. It's pure fun. And I think it models the NFL draft way more than a slow draft does. The slow draft does not model the NFL draft at all whatsoever.
We're going to pitch it to Sleeper.
Maybe, if it gets popular enough.
If it gets popular. Jokes.
Anyway, we appreciate you. All love. We'll see you soon. Later.
Love.